Hey, how are you?
Elohim,
Oh, I'm a bit blurry,
you're a
but
bit busy.
how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm always on Instagram, flicking through reels. Mine, as you do when you try to relax for 5 minutes. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. I've just seen your the kitchen and the
Yes.
tap. The colours work really well. It's really nice.
Yeah, the copper sink with the copper tap from I think it's proper copper per design. They've got an Instagram page,
Yeah,
and I got some more. I got 4 taps for the rest of the garden coming to match the kitchen tap, and it just makes such a difference. And that copper is not going to oxidize and go green. It's
yeah.
got this finishing lacquer, and as well, we've got a shower going up on one of those posts next to the hot tub. Uh,
Oh, nice.
because obviously, when I go there and I'm dirty after work, I need to shower before jumping in their hot tub. No, joking. But
Yeah, no, and the cladding as well.
yes,
It really
yeah,
complements it. It just looks it's really smart.
and the concrete copper cladding, like you say, and with the touch of cedar. I'm waiting on some cedar, and we'll have like a back splash back, if you like, with some
Yeah,
piping around the kitchen as well.
yeah.
So now it's really good. I'm just happy to see kind of the finish line is at reach, after this long, arduous winter.
I'll tell you what, as well as seeing your face and having a great chat with you, it's good to have this podcast, especially with the bank holidays, because
Yeah,
I've got no idea what the day of the week is.
I'm sorry for the noise. I don't know if you can hear that. It's my dog drinking water. It just sounded so dodgy. I was like, I need to show it because that's a bit dodgy. No, I
So
do.
we've got Mark Gadsden on. He's another pro landscaper, 30 under 30 winner, another young landscaper with yeah, he's been going since 2019, so the same time as me.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
I mean, I followed him for a long time on Instagram, and I love his work. His work is really high quality, but what I like is his persona as well. He's got high energy, and he's running a big gang of lads. And if I was a lad in the industry, I think I would have enjoyed working in that environment. It looks really nice and healthy, so it'd be interesting to ask him all those questions on how he runs, a bigger gang. How was your eye?
I was about to say, is it playing up on camera? Does it look too bad?
It looks like you're like this.
Oh, it's really, yeah, it's getting a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing a mental health training earlier, and I had to put these glasses on because just to try to disguise it. And also the light from the computer was really like playing up with it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I hope you get better quick on that point.
So do I. Should we get?
Yeah.
Let's see if I don't know if Mark's watching.
Maybe good to have him on.
I was tempted to wear an eye patch.
I'll try to do the other side. I can't do it.
It's really, yeah.
It's
It's just really puppy as well.
here he is.
Hey, Mark.
Boys.
Good. How are you?
Very well.
I'm alright.
That's good, mate. That's good. It's good to have you on here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I've been looking forward to it. I don't know which one to look at, bottom right or Adam at the top.
Look at the hands.
Hey?
I tend to look at the green light on top of my phone.
Yeah, but you've got all the fancy setup, mate. You've already told me that with all your flashy lights. I've just got this silly little tripod that I take on site with me.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite nice for you to come on. I've tried to ask you a couple of times, and we finally managed to pin you down.
I know. I've been too busy. It's long overdue.
Yes,
It's long overdue.
yeah, definitely.
But I think it's wicked.
And,
I think it's wicked what you guys are doing with the podcast. I
Yeah.
think it's it's brings a community together. You hear different stories, what other lads are getting up to. You can sort of understand their methods of work. So I think it's class what you two are doing.
No, thank you.
Yeah, really.
I think that's the reason why we both ended up doing it. You know, we obviously love the industry, you know, yourself as well. I think to be a business owner and to be in the industry, you have to kind of love it and have a bit of passion for it.
And patience.
And patience. And
Yeah.
A lot
so
of
I think it's like a platform where, you know, people like yourself or other landscapers, big or small, you know, we can unload as well, and hopefully some people can gain the value from just listening to, let's say, you today. Some people will be following you, some people won't, but it'll be quite interesting to show, you know, a little bit about you, how you started, and how you run your company, because everyone runs it differently. I mean, Adam and me run our company very differently, and I'm learning from Adam. And I'm learning from some of the landscapers we had on, and even, you know, suppliers, some ideas. So this is what it's all about, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think starting there really, Mark, is just what did you do before you set up your company, and what was it that kind of gave you the urge to go out on your own?
Well, I was when I was 17, which is I'm 28 now, so I got kicked out of college. Academically, I weren't that great. I was always better with my hands, like in PE and stuff like that. And I went to do a gym instructor course at college.
All right,
but, yeah, I did all right with it, but my attendance wasn't too good. So I dropped out of that, and I started doing painting and decorating on site. My mate might be watching. It was for his dad, M. Bateman and Son. I learned a lot with him, like how to be and stuff like that. Do you know what I'm saying? And then I watched the landscapers on the site. And back then, when you're like 17, you see them with the big Husqvarna grinders and all that. And you look out, and I'm looking out the window, I'm thinking, that looks really cool doing that. So after that, when I lived in Petersfield, I walked around the town, and any landscaper's truck that I could find, I put a note on their windscreen asking for a job. 2 got back to me, and the guy that seemed keen for me to jump on, Doug, he's retired now. He said, look, I'll start you on £50 a day, come in tomorrow. And that was it, and that's it then. And then from that day, I've just been doing landscaping 10 years now. Worked for 2 different companies, Doug and another company. And then 4 years ago, went out on my own. So
4 years, that's decent. So in 4 years, you've grown quite a lot then.
Yeah, well, mate, I'll tell you now, it's been a struggle. It's been a lot of blood, sweat and tears. I tell you, there's numerous times this company's brought me to tears. I've got no shame in telling you that. Yeah. It looks all good like on social media and how someone could come across, but you guys know what it's like running a company, the stress that you've got to deal with. A lot of the time clients can forget that you are a human as well.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and you always, again, you guys know, you always try your hardest. Some people don't really appreciate that, and they do forget you ain't a robot. So yeah, it's not been easy to get where I am at the moment, not at all. So
just going back slightly, so when you left your last job to go out on your own, where were you at? How much work did you have booked in? Did you already have like someone lined up to come and work with you?
No, I sort of went out on my own, put the feelers out, and then my best mate's brother, who's still with me today, he come and work for me. Never done landscaping before. Didn't have much in the pipeline. We used like Checker Trade, and you know, you get them local directories, and you can pay like 150 quid, and you get a page in it.
Yeah.
I signed up for 3 months of that, and we were just doing like just small little bricklaying jobs, like running header courses in on a load of blown brickwork that had gone with the frost, so we take it off and put it on, and like little steps and stuff like that, little brick walls. And I remember the first like big job I got for myself back then, it was about 11 grand. And the lady, Hayley, I still keep in contact with her now, 4 years on. She saw I had no portfolio, I had no previous work, nothing like that. But she went with me over the competitors, so she says, because of how I come across as a person. And that woman on that estate then led to like 8 more jobs.
Wow.
So she really opened a gate for me there. And I'm forever grateful to her for that, because she didn't know what I was capable of. She just took me as face value. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you in that sense, you could argue you need a bit of luck, but I'm a strong believer in you make your own luck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I feel that especially new people just setting out, it's all about appearance, your service, and like you said, she bought into you because how you come across. If you hadn't sort of prepared yourself that way, then it might have taken you a lot longer to get that first chance.
Definitely.
I think you're totally right. Like, people buy into people, like Adam said, and sometimes, like you were saying as well, you get a bit lucky. You know, it's just that right customer from the get-go that will talk about you as well, and value all the hard work, and probably look outside and see you grafting and appreciate that graft. You know, that hard work. I think it's another array of customers that don't value that at all. They just, you know, they just look at anything they can pick on, or you know, well, that's not quite what I had in mind. You know, when they're spending $3 grand on something silly, you know, and they expect some marble finish patio. So at the beginning, it's always tricky to get that balance between growing too quick and taking too much on, and then not managing to keep up with the quality and stuff like that. So that's what I found. I took some big jobs growing, and they kind of nearly broke us in some ways, financially. But you know, it did help us build that portfolio a bit, like you were saying. So it is really important.
I mean, it's like no one can appreciate how difficult it is until you've done it, until you're in the situation. And like you said, obviously there's that risk of growing too quickly. We've sort of done it organically at that. I mean, 4 years I've got, including myself, there's 9 of us now. It's a lot of organisation. There's so much behind the scenes that you've got to make sure every day, every single day, brains ticking, who's there, materials there. To the point, it does consume your life. It massively consumes your life. And then you've got to make sure that it doesn't too much, because then what's the point in living? Do you know what I mean? What are you working for if you can't enjoy yourself? And I've got to points where it's like, it's just work in my head, and it's like you sit back and you're like, what am I doing it all for? Do you know what I mean?
I know. I think every business owner can kind of appreciate that, because you go home. I work with my wife; she works in the office. It allows me to be on the tools, and we had to say to each other at one point, we need to stop talking about work when we're at home as well, because it's like you say, your brain's ticking all day long. And then you go home, you're talking about work whilst the kids are messing about, and it's like that really fine balance. And I don't think it just applies to landscapers. I think business owners have to learn to give themselves that time to appreciate like you were saying, appreciate their time to live, you know?
Definitely.
And that balance, honestly, again, it's up and down with me still. Sometimes I try to finish early at work and go home, and sometimes you just can't.
No.
So
but even when you go home and finish early, you ain't finishing early, are you? You know what I mean? Well, I don't anyway.
Yeah.
You know, 5 minutes before I jumped on here, I was still doing work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I got a question for you on that point. So you got 9 guys, including yourself.
Yeah.
Are those 9 guys? Give us a bit of how you structure it. So how many people do you have in charge under you, if you like, or how do you have a structure?
Yeah. So it's like I call them my wolf pack. That's what our WhatsApp chat's called, the wolf pack. Like everyone sort of knows their place in the company. I'd say I've got three lads who I like call my foreman, and that's Jarvis, Jack, and Omi. Omi's the lad that's been with me since the start, so he's literally worked his way up over 4 years to that point. And he's not there because he's been with me from the start. He's there because he deserves to be, because he's a very good landscaper. And then you've got sort of my lieutenant, I'd sort of say Snow, Callum, but we call him Snow. And then you've got the 3 Joeys at the bottom. So the Joeys are the labourers. You've got Brandon, Akira, and Richie. Brandon's just started, so sort of Richie and Akira, they're a bit higher up than Brandon. But everyone, and then what I'll do is I'll split the team. So one team might have 3 and 4, but then they're always switching depending on what they're doing and who's better at that certain thing to an extent. Do you know what I mean?
So is it typical just having 2 projects at once?
Well,
or would you have 3 sometimes?
I'll have 3.
Yeah.
Try not to, because then you get stretched.
Yeah.
But with that as well, a very important lad that I've got, and he keeps the whole thing going, is Ollie. He's a fireman, but part-time he works for me.
Yeah.
So every time he's on call at the fire station, he's doing all the office work. And he used to work at Travis Perkins for 5 years.
Oh wow.
His dad
Nice.
His dad was a branch manager. So that boy, mate, I tell you now, I will get a Travis ticket if it's a penny out, he's on it like that. Boom, credit. What's this? What's going on here? Why is this? What's this? With all the branches, and I'll just say to him, right, Ollie, I need this delivered to this site. Voice note on WhatsApp. Boom, it's there. 2 days later, done. Yeah, he is. Honestly, he is. I hope he's not watching because his head's going to blow up.
Yeah, I want Ollie.
Hey, I'll tell you, he's golden. He's golden, mate.
But is that sort of thing, if me and Els or anyone listening can find that sort of person, to the amount of value that he provides you, I can see.
Oh, mate, honestly. And not just that, is that's only when he does all that when he's on call. When he's got a day off, because obviously firemen, they'll do like 2 days on, 2 days off or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a sensible landscaper as well. He can come in, he knows how to put a tile down or do a bit of fencing and that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, he's good. They're all good. They're all golden. They all get on my nerves. They know that. They all piss me off, but at the end of the day, we all kiss, we all hug, and we all do a good job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I really like and respect like your hierarchical structure, because for me, whether it's the whole hippie thing, but I had it in my head that we're all utopians and everyone could be just classed as that. Whereas no, you need in a business, in a company, you need structure, you need hierarchy.
Yeah.
So as you said, people know their place, and then also people know then they've got something to progress and work too. Whereas if you're all in this kind of everyone's kind of floating around, it wasn't done in that sort of way. But I know now that there needs to be a lot more structure in place.
Yeah. No. It's I think people will start like trying to push themselves if they haven't got someone above them that can keep them in check. That's when they'll start taking the piss. Do you know what I mean? So like if anyone acts up on the sites, the foremans will deal with it. Meaning I don't have to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Which is another thing out of my head that I ain't got to stress about. And then if they don't listen, that's when I'll get involved. Do you know what I mean? And give them a proper dressing down. But that's happened like minimal amount of times, because there's so much respect we all show each other, and we all respect that hierarchy.
What does a proper dressing down look like?
Don't know really. Threaten to kick them off the site, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sack them. And it's people say like people ain't like irreplaceable, but the harsh truth
Yeah, you know, you're right.
is they are.
You can't. People can't feel too comfortable.
No,
I've had it quite a few times. People just get, for the first like month or so, they make a good impression. They keep pushing, and then the next couple of weeks they sort of teeter out. They get really comfortable. They start either coming in late or performance drops, not clearing tools. Yeah.
Does my head in, mate. Honestly, like one thing that winds me up is people when they're just going through the motions. They're coming in, they're earning their wedge, and then they just go home. They don't really give a shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and that reflects bad on the company.
Yeah, definitely.
So the way I see it is, and I'm still learning that, is no one's going to be as good as you, but your company is, what's the saying? Is reflected on your worst employee.
Yeah.
So the customer, if you, like you say, if they see one of your staff outside messing about too much and dragging their heels and on their phone, and even if the work is amazing, they will have that picture in their minds.
Definitely.
It's a bit of a, you know, it's tricky. I've always found it hard to be tough on my staff because I spend so much time with them, and you kind of grow, you know, to like your staff. You grow to, and that's something that I had to learn. And my wife was saying, you need to be a lot tougher on on the staff because it just walk all over you.
Yeah.
And she was so right. It's happened many times where I had to range stuff in, and then it kind of becomes this big like pressure cooker building until something just, you know, something flies around the garden, you know what I mean? So I think structure on staff really, really important. And as well, how do you deal with recruitment? Do you have a high retention on your staff, or how does it work with the younger guys? Because from experience, maybe I've been doing it a bit longer than you two. We're going 10 years.
You're an old man, mate.
I know. I'm 31 and I feel old, and I've done it for 10 years and I'm still grafting.
You've had a hard paper round, haven't you?
What's that?
You've had a hard paper round.
What does that mean? Is that
Mark knows.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but anyway, lost my train of thought there. But I was saying, what was I saying?
Recruitment.
Recruitment. So I've gone through, in the 10 years, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 people.
Fucking hell, mate. Where are you getting them from?
Well, that's the thing, you know, I had a lot of friends. A lot of friends at the beginning, kind of like jumping on, helping with no experience and stuff like that. So I knew when taking them, that's not their journey, if you like. They kind of fill in a void. I had my big brother work for me. He's a botanist. So when I started, we started as a maintenance company. So that was great, the plants and stuff like that. But I don't know, we've had, you know, lots of apprentices. We've had, you know, some carpenters that came again for a year or two. So a lot of beautiful people that we are still friends and we're still well and truly in contact. But we still have quite a high rotation. We've got maybe 3 guys that we've had for 8 years, you know.
So how many have you got then?
We're down to 4 now.
Because you was well, and you both had quite a few on at one point.
Yeah. We were 10, like just before the winter. We were 10 plus Jess in the office, so it was 11 of us, I think, in total.
Yeah, because I remember I spoke to you about it.
Yeah, it's mental. I loved it when everything was running smooth, and then it's like you know, like you were saying, like the shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's not all landscaping. It was maintenance and tree surgery because that's what we do. So this year we're scaling back. We are focusing only on landscaping because that's what we're known for in the area. We've moved on from the garden maintenance, and to be honest, the money's not there. So no, tree surgery is decent, but again, I'm not. Like I used to climb and stuff like that, but I'm not fully invested in tree surgery. So I'm kind of like, I'm not a small tree surgeon. I'm not a big tree surgeon. I'm like in the middle, floating about, and it's not constant. So yeah, it's kind of finding the game. But anyway, going back on you, recruitment. How do you deal with it?
Well, it's like I've had Omi for 4 years.
Yeah.
I've had Jack for 3 years. Callum for 3 years. Jarvis for 4 years. Like, I think I've only had to sack one person.
Yeah.
Two people. I sort of, I've never like run a recruitment ad or anything like that. I just put feelers out there to people. Like, so Jarvis and Omi, 2 of my lads, they're brothers. I've known Jack, who works for me for donkey's years. Snow is best mates with Omi. Jarvis is my best mate outside of work. I've known Jarvis since I was like 8. Ollie, I've known him since I was about 10. He's my best mate. Akira, Brandon, and Richie, they're best mates outside of work. So it's sort of like doing it through asking, oh, does your mate want any work? Do you know what I mean? Not like a particular sort of recruitment drive or anything like that. And
that's super interesting, because it could go either one or two ways. Like working with your friends and family could be so dangerous. It can go so downhill. But you seem to have, got a right touch. You seem to have,
Well, saying that, I said for it, I had to sack my twin brother. Like, I know
you got a twin brother?
I got a twin brother, mate. Yeah, chalk and cheese.
Does he look like you?
No.
Who's the better looking one?
Me.
Hey.
But no, I know what you're saying. Like it can go sort of one or two ways, and I do think there has been a few times where, how would I put it? Sort of like the line between work and friendship. Do you know what I mean? Like when you try.
Bottom friends, and that's what I struggle with. Is that I want to not donkey and carrot. I want to get on with them, make sure that not only the client has a good experience, but the guys enjoy their day. But then also you need to put your foot down and go, do you know what? No, I'm the boss. I'm in charge. It's all, I struggle with that balance.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's only on a rare few occasions. It's sort of like I sort of command respect from the lads, and they do respect me. And I mean, I don't know. I guess that's just it. I just command respect from them. They know how good they've got it with me. I look after them all dearly. I mean, all the vans they got, I bought them all, paid for all their work miles, paid for the uniform, paid for all the tools. Like, do you know what I mean? So they all realise how good they have it with me. And I'll continue being good to them as long as they're good back to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, so in terms of, I was going to touch upon, in terms of the growth, going from you set out, you just had one person, if I remember rightly, with you. At what point did you scale up? I'm assuming obviously more work came in, but then what was the next in terms of, I guess, touching upon recruiting and helping other people? Who was then the next sort of person you were looking for? Was it a skilled person or was it another labourer? Because with me, as you touched upon a minute ago, I had my last year, I took on too many people. I think there was 8 of us, but there was too many unskilled people. I didn't want to take on the wrong person. I wanted the right people who I could learn, who I could teach. But it turned into an academy. It turned into a college. Without knowing, they were all super nice. They all worked really hard, but it was still me laying every day, and you had 4 or 5 people mixing, and that's the sad truth. And it took me a while to figure it out. Whereas now I've got Steve project managing. I've got another project manager starting in June, and I've got, as you said, the hierarchy in place. But is that were you looking for a skilled person to start with, so you didn't kind of fall in that trap?
Don't know, not really. I mean, back then, 4 years ago, I was still sort of just winging it, mate, to be honest. Like, the next person that come on, Jarvis, my best mate, I asked him if he wanted a job. We were at a music festival, Southwest 4.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we was all over the place. And I've asked him if he if he wants a job. And he said, yeah. And then I followed him up the next day if he still wanted it. And that was it. I mean, there was no really thought process to it. It was just, I knew at the time he wasn't enjoying what he was doing. He was doing plumbing. And I knew, being his best pal, he weren't really getting on with it. So if he was getting on with plumbing and enjoying it, then God knows who else I would have had on.
Yeah.
I was just winging it, mate, back then. I didn't have any particular sort of like, I need to go for this person or that person. It was too early in my sort of business to have that sort of frame of mind. Do you know what I mean?
That's interesting because I've now got a business coach, and we're kind of like putting things in place, putting structure in place, putting goals and stuff. But I think like you, to start with, it's completely like I was completely winging it as well.
Yeah.
And I had in the back of my head kind of like where I wanted to go, but there was no kind of written down.
No.
And you kind of just have to go with the flow. And
yeah, I mean, I feel I'm still winging it 10 years on,
mate.
Guys. So
That's all you can do.
like, it's all you can do, mate. Like someone gives like a key member of staff is so Tom, my foreman. He's leaving soon because he's my climber and he's like a huge part of my business. But he's done this with me for nearly like 9 years.
Wow.
And the guy is like super good with his ropes, and he's going to do something new. You know, rope access is called. So he's climbing buildings and all that stuff. So, you know, when he gave me that news about 9 months ago, he's still working for me at the moment, but he wants to give me plenty notice until he gets sorted. But at that point, you're like, okay, let's go back to winging it. You know, you can have all the right ideas and the right structures in place. I still think the reason why we're in business is because we're entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
And that mind is totally creative and it's totally like, okay, he's going, I'm going to replace him with some, you know, he came to me 9 years ago, he worked at Domino's delivering pizzas.
Yeah.
And now he's a fully fledged tree surgeon and he's top notch.
But they're the best people, though.
Exactly.
Because you all the lads that have worked for me, none of them did it before, minus maybe Jack, who works for me. His uncle owns like a big construction company, and he did a bit of work there. But the rest of them hadn't really done landscaping ever. He'd done a few labouring jobs. So what that meant for me is that I was able to mould them to how I wanted them to be and how I wanted them to work and stuff like that. So I think like sometimes it's probably better that way, because you could potentially, I wouldn't know, I've not done it, but you could probably get someone in who's done it all before, and they come in and they think they're Barry Big Bollocks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they rock up the boat. They rock the boat that you created.
Yeah, exactly. And they're questioning you in front of your Joeys, or when you're not there, they're talking about you, and it's just like I wouldn't know, but I can assume that probably could happen quite a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I have had some people working from other firms, and you know what you hear, and this used to wind me up. On the old firm, we used to do it that way.
Yeah, mate.
Oh my God! Well,
you're not on the old firm. You're here now.
Exactly. It's like it's really hard to kind of like switch them around and say, okay, this is how we do things. And the only worry you have is on the old firm, maybe they had that mentality of that will do.
Yeah. And
it's nothing worse. If I hear someone say that, that's when I go a bit red and I go like, what did you just say? You know what I mean? Like, it's not that will do. We aim for perfection.
Exactly.
And, you know, I think I'm totally with you as well on this one. I like to grab them young Virgin, I'm
I bet
joking.
you do. I bet you do.
Young, fresh,
That
and
come
no.
out wrong, mate.
It's a thing.
But you know what I mean? Like Luca, this young lad, I chatted about him last week. He's from, he's doing Capel Manor. So he's doing, he's finished his level 2 horticultural landscape. And someone like that with the bubble of landscaping, but they've never worked. So although it takes time to teach them, because you're nearly teaching them how to use a shovel at that.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
it is like, but I think I don't know how you feel, but I quite love teaching my craft. I think, you know, like I've done it for 10 years and I've worked all over the place with like carpenters in France, you know, farmers, and I love giving that joy of doing something manually to those young lads, you know. And like you were saying, you mold them, you make them into someone that they're excited. They don't even look at the clock. So you change their mentality, and they're like, they just want to get shit done.
But
I don't think that.
they're hard to
So,
come by now.
Pardon?
yeah.
Young lads like that, they're hard to come by now.
Yeah, yeah. They're hard to come by, but I think it's the energy that you can give someone as well. So we'll get some young lads like they turn up and they smoke too much ganja. I've said this before. They've got social anxiety. They've got all sorts of riddle problems and what's going on. If you can get past that and give them a chance, mate, nine time out of 10, I'm surprised with a year's growth on them, you know. And the frustrating part is they probably do 1, 2, 3 years and then go and do their own thing or things like that. But everyone's got their journey. You can't keep people from living their own dreams as well, you know. So yeah.
I want to ask Mark, what has been kind of your, I guess, your secret or your way of training? Because I'd say it's super impressive that you've managed to grow to where you have, and you've taught them all yourself. Like they've come from not knowing landscaping. Because I think it can inspire a lot of people. Because there's people that message me, people that I talk to that kind of, oh, I haven't got time to train. We need to get the job done. It's kind of bosh, bosh, bosh. Whereas clearly you've spent a lot of time investing in the guys, showing them. So how does that kind of pan out going back a few months, like day to day?
Well, it's I mean, I'm rarely on the tools now, which is annoying, because that's what I signed up for, to be on the tools. But obviously, as you guys know, when you scale up a bit, you are on them less. But when I was on the tools, I'd make sure that they'd done all their jobs they needed to do to progress the job, whether that be bringing a ton bag of MOT in or making sure there's a gauge in the mix and stuff like that. Then they'd be chomping at the bit, get that done to the standard it needs to be done. And that's when they can be a puppy and they can watch me do what I'm doing and I can teach them that way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think with the lads I've got as well, I can't knock them. They've all sort of taken it on quite quickly, everything I've said. A lot, I think all of them are sort of naturals at it to an extent. But that's just how I've sort of done it. It's just as long as their jobs are done, that's when they can learn. And that makes them want to, like the Joeys I've got at the moment, they'll go like a hound dog, mate. They'll get that done. And then they know once they've done that, they might be able to pop a little slab in here or there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
So it's kind of giving that incentive to work hard.
Exactly.
Give me a bit. Look, I used to do that. Whack a few mixes on, put them in the barrows. Once I've got a few, if I was laying, let's spend some time and teach you.
But
I've got that with a couple of my guys. There's no better feeling than hearing like them like, can I lay a slab? Can I lay a slab? That's what you want.
It's like, for example, it was only earlier today. So one of the Joeys was slurring up the back of the slab. Everyone does it differently, different ways to skin a cat, but we'll put it on with a notch trap. So quite thick, we don't paintbrush it on, we'll notch it on. And I said to him, that most motion of you notching the back of that tile and getting that slurry on the back of that porcelain tile is the same motion you're going to use when you're buttering the back of the tile ready to clad it. So straight away, you're sort of learning that motion. So when you do move up and you're ready to start cladding tiles, you already know subconsciously that's how I want you to do it. Yeah. So all these little things, they lead on to that progression that they're aiming for. Although at the time they're like, oh, this is shit, we're just slurrying slabs and we're not going to put them down. Yeah. Subconsciously, they are sort of learning that at the same time of that progression of once they've done that, they can start buttering tiles, putting them on the block work and that. Yeah,
that's a good way to do it. And you know, do you have your foremans as well teaching them?
Yeah, I do. I mean, they do teach them, and I think a big part of it is running a business and trying to scale up. You've just got to accept the fact that you are going to lose money in order to teach people.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to teach a team of lads and still make money. Do you know what I mean? Because things are going to go slower. So I can't expect some of them boys to lay as many bricks as I have. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They're going to, of course, be slower. Yeah. So I think to teach a lad as well, you just got to accept the fact that, yeah, your profit margins on one job might not be as good as they should be, but instead of earning that money, you're investing time in someone, and that person is going to earn you more money. So you got to look at the long run.
Yeah, it's having that growth mindset. So early days when you start off, I think most people would agree that when you start off, you kind of do anything and everything, and you kind of give loads of freebies away just to make the project look really good. And then you get to the point of, to get your name out there. Once your name's out there, you don't have to do that so much. No. But then I guess some people might get comfortable, some complacent. Some people then want to push themselves and do what we're doing and scaling up. Like as you said, the next point of taking a bit of the hit is training the guys you've got, get all the foundations right, and then you can go back at it again, and then you get to the next stage, and then you can either get comfortable there, or you can take another little hit and then move on. But it's always about adjusting and.
Definitely.
I think the balance, like you were saying, is allowing the staff to touch everything as well. So that's been, I think, in the 10 years, and I'm still working on that. That's been my hardest heartache.
Touching what?
Touching everything.
Not the young boys.
Like, I'm telling you right now, I built a house during COVID. I built a house, and I did that. I was with Gunny at the time. I stop it, you two, man. And I couldn't stop myself that I had to touch everything. You know what I mean? I don't mean it that way. I mean it like, I find it really hard when I'm looking at someone do something and I know I could do it like just perfectly. I find it hard to let go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, I think I don't know. It depends where you want to bring your business as well, I guess, and how big you want to grow. But you definitely, as you're growing your business, you have to learn.
What's he laughing at?
I know, it's not stuff. You have to learn to let go. You have to learn to not just like, and like you're saying, like you're not on a digger. Like you jump on a digger, you get shit done, right? And I'm really quick. I get everything dug out, and we move on, and we're ready to lay. But like you were saying, having that time to have someone to maybe spend like twice as long on a digger is gonna, like you were saying, it's gonna make you more money because that person now is as good as you on a digger, and then they can even get better than you. So I think it's like as a craftsman / business owner, that balance of okay, it's time for me to put the digger hat off and give it to someone else. So then that person becomes your ground worker or whatever it may be.
But I always found that when I started like getting off the tools a bit, that I always trusted the lads, but that was something that I struggled with is is sort of like you said, like just sort of passing the baton on. Do you know what I mean? That was a bit of a struggle for me. But now, like you said, it's paid off massively.
Yeah.
If I never did like sort of like let them get on with it, we wouldn't be where we are today. So yeah, you got to definitely take a punt with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And having the right people in position, I think that's key.
And the right work ethic,
Yeah.
the right attitude. There's you could be shit up at laying bricks and you could be unbelievable at laying slabs, but if you've got shit attitude, then what's the point?
Exactly.
You're worthless.
And what about so going on scaling up and all that stuff? What about like your jobs, like the inquiries, and how do you manage all of that? Because obviously, as you grow and you need more work, you're spending a bit more time organising 2 jobs at a time, sometimes 3, and as well, you need to make sure those jobs are coming in to keep all those lads nice and busy.
Definitely.
So now, as I think anyone in the industry looks at scaling up, it's probably the first hurdle, right? It's all good scaling up, finding the right gang and all that stuff, but if you don't have the work, you're pretty fucked.
Yeah.
So how do you maintain that workflow? And now you're not so much on the tools. What do you think your customer did? They're buying in the company as a bigger picture kind of thing and into all your lads. Because I know my customer buy into me massively. And they buy into the detail, the graft, and maybe I don't have the right staff in position to let them do what I quite do myself. So how do you manage that expectation from your customers?
So we're quite well known in the area.
Yeah.
We have got a good reputation in the area. I'll obviously I'll meet the client first and foremost. If it's a small job, one of the lads will go do it, one of the foremen will go do it, and then they'll relay back to me like the size of the job, what's expected, pictures, videos, blah, 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 blah. That frees me up to look at obviously the bigger projects, like you said, because the bigger projects is what keep you busy. Then the smaller smash and grab jobs, they're all right. They obviously keep you ticking over, but through them long winter months, you want them longer jobs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll look at them ones. On the first day of the job, I'll always be there. I'll introduce the clients to all the lads by name. The client will sort of understand that I'm not going to be there every day, all day, but I will try my hardest to get there at least once a day to any of the sites that are running, just to oversee it, make sure everything's going how it's supposed to, answer any questions, speak to the client, always keeping up that comms with the client, very important. Communication is key all the way through, making yourself available for them. They might not finish work till 8 o'clock and see the garden till then. So I always just try and make sure I'm always available to them. Do you know what I mean? So, so there's all that, but I don't know if you lads use it, but like Microsoft Excel, do you use that?
Yeah.
Absolutely spot on. Such a good software. That's all that keeps us ticking over. I use a quoting software called Workflow Max, if you've heard of that.
No, we're making note of that now.
Yeah, I use that for quoting and invoicing. And then on notes on your iPhone, you can do like a shared note. I don't know if you guys have seen that. You can do a shared note. So we've got a shared note for each job running. And then within that shared note will be all the lads that are on that job. So let's say Jarvis, Jack and Omi will be on a Horndean job. They will be put into that notes, and there'll be a whole schedule of the 17th of May, there's a Travis delivery. The 18th of May, there's a London Stone delivery. So then they know what's coming to make sure there's blah, 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 stuff like that. So yeah, that's how we do it. There's a lot behind the scenes. And again, going back to Ollie, that's where he's on the ball. So we've got on Excel, we've got big spreadsheets. Every single penny that gets spent on a job goes into this job sheet. At the bottom, it works out our net profit, our gross profit, and then we can keep a track of financially how we're progressing as a company, which is very important.
Yeah, data is super important to
Massive.
know. You know, I think at the beginning it's like you get screwed by all the consumables.
Yeah.
So things like paintbrushes or trowels or buckets and you know, all the little things that you don't think that you use. It's so cheap to buy and you don't think about it when you're sitting down and quoting. But having that data, you know, blades, blah, 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 clips, spacers. I mean, the list is huge of little bits and bobs.
Yeah,
Super important.
It all adds up, and the sort of sweet spot for sort of net profit, you want sort of 10%. So once everything's paid for, all your company overheads and that. So like, obviously my overall company overheads per day, based on a 20-day working month, I'll split that down the middle between the two sites.
Yeah.
That obviously gets added in. And then obviously all the labour, all the materials, and then it chucks out at the bottom the net profit at the end of the job. And ideally you want to sort of aim for 10%, because at the end of the day, we are a business. We've got overheads ourselves to pay for. And I think people don't realise that. Do you know what I mean? We're a shop front. We still have to pay all that to be a business. You know what I'm saying?
All the things the customers don't see, you know, the yard.
No, exactly.
You know,
what
fuel.
What pays for the whole show?
Exactly.
No. It shouldn't come out. You work your like your fucking arse off, splitting headaches. It shouldn't come out of your wages.
No.
It's coming out of the profits from that job to keep the company running. That's what pays for the whole show, and that's what gets my back up, mate. When people ask me about trade discount and that, and it's like,
oh wow,
mate, what are you talking about, mate? Like, why should you get trade discount? Like, that's what keeps the business running.
Yeah. Are you a tradesman? You know, like trade discount is in the name, and you get a better discount when you use the same supplier for 10 years.
Exactly.
In a row. Then you get a better discount if you're loyal to your suppliers and if you buy a lot.
Exactly.
So you've paid your way into that. No, I think that's really key. It's good that you touch on that, because I think a lot of people are, you know, shy away from the real reason why we're all doing it at the end of the day. We're all doing it to make money and have a nice life. We're doing it because we love it, but it needs to be a profitable business.
It does.
You know, it's no two ways about it. I think, you know, customers have that vision of just you and your van. And that is it. They think that's it. And I've heard the saying, and I quite like to bring it up. It was like probably a video on TikTok, to be honest. But it was something along the lines of your customer doesn't pay for your time on site, they pay for your knowledge. So although, you're not spending all that time on site, but your knowledge is part of the business.
Absolutely.
And that's what the customers are buying into.
Exactly.
And I think, you know, this is maybe where I'm kind of like making my clothes kind of turn a little bit and say, okay, I can still deliver a high quality product, service, and not have to do everything, you know what I mean? So, I think you kind of nailed that right on the head, boss. You know, you're there, the customers see you on the first day of the job, you're there to answer any questions, and that's how you run your projects, and it seems to be working for you. So, no, it's quite tiring. I think, you know, I get a lot of messages on Instagram and say, especially on the back end of last summer, because I scaled it up quite big, and it was all running well. And I get companies like, I'll probably just two guys and say like, I've been doing it three years now. I really want to make the jump in running another team. And it's always nice to be asked. And I'm quite honest. I just say what I've done and trialed and mistakes. And, you know, earlier we were talking about, you know, having staff structure and, you know, a foreman and this, that. I did a bit like Adam, you know, at the beginning, I put everyone on the same page.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you know, we're all equal, dude. And like, you know, you learn, and honestly, like, you know, we're winging it. And yeah, I mean, I've learned from a lot of mistakes, and they're probably the best lessons that I've learned. And this is what makes you better as a business owner and a all-rounded person as well.
No,
So,
I agree. It's only a mistake if you don't learn from it. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's you've got to make these mistakes. Like you said, I've made some big mistakes. More when I first started, like massively underpricing jobs. And when that happens, and it happened to me on a big one, it was like my first big job, like in 2020 or something. I was well out, mate, like of my pricing, and I just grit my teeth and I just had to do it. I didn't ask the client for no more money. Like, I didn't bail out on the job, and it got to the point it was coming out of my pocket. I was paying for the grab lorries, I was paying for the skips, just because it's like I didn't want to fall at the first hurdle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when that was happening, it was the worst time. I remember I texted my mum. I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, I just started my business, so I'd invested all the money I'd saved hard for, and all that money that was in the pot, I was literally putting it on this job. This obviously I ain't gonna name the client name, but basically got this garden for free. Do you know what I'm saying? But when I look back at that now, it was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me, because I learned so much from that. And I think that's what it's like. A lot of people fail at the first hurdle. Do you know what I mean? And it's only the people that think fuck it and they push through that first hurdle. That's when obviously they can start obviously growing their company, progressing and that. But if you stop on the first hurdle, then you might not have it in your mindset anyway.
Exactly. And business owners will go through so many of those hurdles, as in, I mean, the amounts, a bit like yourself, losing money and getting to payday and thinking, shit, I fucked up this month. I really done shit. And, you know, paying people and not yourself because, you know, you screwed up, and still going to work and try to keep that motivation, because your staff will sense if you come in and you're down. That's your whole team will go spiraling down. So, you know, you go from this to like, hey guys, what's up? You know, let's have it. And you have to, because it will spank you, and it's no easy way to put it. The reality is, it will spank you. And it's good that you hit on that again, because, you know, on social media, everything looks nice. You know, we're busy, we're doing beautiful projects, but the reality of behind the scene, and I guess this is probably the reason why I'm really driven to come on this every week, on a Wednesday on this podcast, is getting the reality of behind the scenes, and what, you know, most of the people that will watch this on YouTube or Spotify or other platforms, you know, the majority of them would have experienced the same hurdles we're experiencing, or they are going through it right now. So I don't remember who it was, but it was on Instagram. This guy posted a story about how many grab lorries he allowed. So I think he said, I've allowed 10 grab lorries, and he's on 18. And he's like said, like, I don't know if I can continue this. So that really touched me. So I sent him a voice note. I was like, just head up, chest up, mate. You're just going to have to go through it. You know, if you're that desperate, maybe have a chat with your customer. Say, listen, it's coming out. Can we go halves on it? Like, you know, people are reasonable. But, you know, like when you see that, and I've gone through it, you've gone through it, it's like dropping, sinking. I was just on my sofa and I was like, fuck. I felt like I wanted to pull my hair for him. So, you know, I think 10 years ago, I didn't have all this social media malarkey, and I I really like it. The fact that, you know, you got 3 people on live tonight going through those things. I think people will really enjoy listening to this. So, no, thank you very much for coming on tonight. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been good, mate. It's definitely good to obviously speak to you guys, hear what you guys think of things, and it's sort of comforting knowing that you ain't the only person that's sort of going through it, because when you're the boss, sometimes you feel you ain't got no one to turn to.
Yeah.
When you can sort of like have something like this, I don't know, you let off a bit of steam. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And I was saying to Els, I'm part of the Bali committee, and when I went up there, what was nuts was that you had me, which is kind of like our sort of stage, and then you've got like some of the biggest, best companies in the country on this table, and it's the same as this. They're all like, you'd look at them and think, oh, they've got it perfect. They haven't. They're having the same worries, the same discussions about us, like, are they priming slab properly? Yeah. Are they doing this properly? And you're sat there like, wow. And like you just said, it makes you realise that anyone and everyone, they all have the same thoughts, they're all going for the same stuff. And it's nice, I guess, as business owners, to have people there relatable that you can have a laugh with, you can blow off steam, you can share ideas, you can help each other. It just ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, to be honest with you, lads, I think I needed this. Can't lie to you.
No, it's good. I'm glad you came on, mate.
I'll jump on again at some point.
Pardon?
No,
I'll
definitely.
jump on again at some point.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be amazing. And keep up the stories. I enjoy your stories, man. It just so follow me this way. How do you call the cameraman? How do you call him?
Clive.
Clive.
Come
Clive. And I just love it. You know, it's just like the dynamic. And I said that to Adam. I said, like, if I was a young landscaper, I'd want to work for you, mate. Like,
I appreciate it.
You know, the way you talk to your staff, the way you value their work, the way you run the company. Well, you know what? If I go bust, I'll come and work with you. Get me there.
You're more than welcome.
I'll put my hands all over you.
I love it.
No, it's been good. It's been good. So, yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, lads.
Yeah, keep going on the social media. Keep the beautiful project rolling on, and we'll catch you next time. Maybe we'll pencil you, and we know, let's say, like 3 or 4 or 5 months, you can come back on and see where you scaled it back up to.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm up for it. You just let me know, mate, and we'll get sorted.
Sounds good.
But,
nice one.
Cheers, guys.
Take care, mate.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Cheers.
That's a good one.
Oh, he's just such a cool dude, isn't he?
Yeah, he's so switched on. I felt like we only got like the same with George Maspo one. That I feel like we're kind of halfway there. There's still like a lot more to.
I mean, I looked at the time and I was like, okay, the hour went quick.
Yeah.
No, I mean, to be honest, I'm trying to like know how to conclude this, but for me, what I took really quite interesting is how he looks after his staff and how he structures his team and how he manages to not be on the tools and still have that
presence.
His presence and that touch. Yeah. But he's obviously got his staff in position to make it happen, because now, you know, it's key. So now for me, I think for me and for a lot of people trying to scale up in landscaping, I think that's quite refreshing to know, like, you know, it's possible and stuff like that. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I'd agree. I'd say that's the biggest takeaway from this is it's impressive his staff retention. He's managed to train them up from knowing nothing to running projects on their own without them.
And you know what was quite nice is like you know, he was, I want to come back on this. I think he enjoyed it himself as well. The fact that, you know, I enjoy coming on every week. You know, it don't matter. Like, I'm knackered. I worked really hard the last freaking month or so.
Mine's been burning the
Your
whole,
eye is
I was
like red
crying the whole
shot.
website.
But like, because we're all so passionate about what we do, not only as landscapers and craftsmen, but we are business owners. And like you were saying, and I like what you said, is sometimes you can feel alone as a business owner. And to come on this podcast, it's nice to not feel alone and chat and have the same kind of problems and all that stuff. So that's really cool. So let's conclude. The conclusion is next week we don't have a guest yet.
I think I do. I think we could put it out tomorrow. We can start being a bit more proactive.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I've got.
But you know,
Is he a designer or another landscaper?
I would like to maybe do a story tomorrow and say, put it out there as well. Who wants to be a guest?
Yeah.
Because that'd be quite interesting to see people, you know, maybe people want to come with a topic or something like that. So that'd be quite interesting to put out there as well. Because obviously, you know, you don't have to be a big company, a small company. You could, you know, it's quite interesting to touch all aspects of business and landscape. So yeah, we'll talk more and we'll release our next guest on Friday for sure. Yeah. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thanks for watching.
Cheers, mate.
Do you want to tell people where they can find us?
Where they can find us?
You can find us on YouTube if you're, you know, watching now, and let people.
Is it on YouTube yet?
No, but like,
no, it will be. Yeah, but the video is being edited.
Yeah.
Edited. And they'll be on your YouTube.
Yes.
And then that was Spotify. And yeah, I think the first couple are going to be ready in the next couple of days. So
that'd be quite good. I mean, I've been posting them raw, to be fair, but I think people are watching them. Not too many, but some.
Maybe it should be interesting to see the response to a story on what people would like to see. Like, would they like the raw version and just keep it like this?
Yeah.
Something at the moment, something that might be better than having it too sort of official and.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. We'll put some. We can do like an Instagram poll. I think we get a lot of people coming back to the podcast. I know that for sure. I know that the first few podcasts we did, I posted on my Instagram, and they done really well. You know, like a lot of views. I don't know how much they've watched of it. I don't know how the algorithm, you know.
I think that'd be the difference of putting it on YouTube, is that you can see the analytics.
Yeah,
exactly. What point people switched off, how long they're watching for.
No, that'd be interesting. But yeah, I think that's it. Have a great day tomorrow. What are you up to tomorrow?
Tomorrow I've got one more day, the mental health training. We've got Steve is back, who's off today. Steve's back. Max is back. They're in Fishbourne. Yeah. And then we've got Joe, James, Ed, and Claude over in Ferring.
Nice. What are you working on? New projects? Yeah,
we've got two really. These are going to be. It's funny. Each one I say is going to be the best, but these two are going to look incredible.
That's the passion in you. That's the passion in you, wanting to top up every project and make them better. I've got the driveway. Curved deck, curved ippy deck, going in some curved porcelain with some Dutch clay paver curve sets. Oh. Nice, lots of curvature, and that driveway you finished is really nice.
Yeah, I really
it's really nice. Like with the planting and stuff like that, it just kills it. Beautiful job. So I'll catch you on the phone later. What about that?
See you later, mate. Thank you for tonight.